The Unexpected Wife, The Three Misses, Book 1, written by Jess Michaels, narrated by Stevie Zimmerman. Chapter 1. Summer, 1813. Owen Gregory liked a great deal about being an investigator, but there was one task that he despised above all others: telling a person that someone they loved was dead. There was often weeping and shouting and denying, and even blaming involved, and those emotions would wash over him and almost stick, hanging there for days. He was here in Twiddleport, a small village with a very silly name, to do exactly that: tell a woman that her husband was dead. He had to tell her a great deal more, and perhaps even worse than that, but he almost couldn't think about all of it at once, or it got jumbled in his mind. He shifted in his saddle and urged his horse, Lucius, a bit faster. The woman, Celeste Montgomery, had not been at the small, rather ramshackle home she and her late husband had let in town, so he had been directed to a cottage just outside Twiddleport, where her parents lived. Based on the directions he'd been given, the home in the distance was the one he sought. He pulled up after he entered the gate and dismounted, then took a good look at the place. Moderately sized, well kept, a rather pretty place, if nondescript. He made his way to the door and knocked. There was a great commotion from inside, with dogs barking and shouts from within, but at last the door opened, and a rather beleaguered-looking older woman with a kerchief wrapped around her head stood there. The housekeeper, he thought, and smiled at her. "Good afternoon, madam. I've come to call on Mrs. Montgomery. I've told she is here visiting her parents." The woman looked him up and down slowly with a faint sniff. "And who are you?" He withdrew a card from the inside pocket of his jacket and held it out. The cards were meant to impress. He had designed them thus, with gold filigree and fine paper. "Mr. Owen Gregory at your service." "I don't think you are expected, sir. I wasn't told the family was receiving guests." She moved to close the door, but Owen wedged his boot in at the last moment, stopping her from locking him out. "I understand," he said, forcing what he hoped was a friendly but firm expression to his face. "But what I've come to discuss cannot wait. I've news from London about Mr. Montgomery. Urgent news." A bit of interest lit up in the housekeeper's expression, and she glanced him over a second time before she opened the door and motioned him into the foyer. "Wait here, if you will," she said. "I'll ascertain if they'll see you." He nodded and took a seat on a bench along one wall of the foyer. He tugged his riding gloves off as he did so, and stretched his fingers while he looked around the entryway. If the outside of the home had been nondescript...
Sample complete. Ready to continue?